We all live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine, yellow submarine. Welcome Saluki, welcome Dorian, welcome. We all live in a yellow London Rise, how are you? Yellow submarine, yellow submarine. Wow, thank you all for joining me. My name is Alicia Previn, and this is Yellow Submarine Kids. Antonio, Brian Reed, welcome. Hargas, welcome, joining us now. So we're going to talk about earthworms. I have a little shot of my website, and this is the book that we are talking about earthworms. As you can see, there's an earthworm circling the earth, showing how much he cares, and then in the back it actually comes with a CD, so it has a full narration of the book, so it's great for little kids. And this is the website, theearthwormbook.com. It's saying a little something about the book. Hello, how are you, Hargas? Echo dermatata. Yes, absolutely. Terrestris. Anyway, I'm going to turn it around and say hi, Yellow Submarine Kids. You don't have to be a grown-up. How are you? It's Alicia Previn here. Thank you. And any Android users in the house, if you are, put in the word yellow right now and post it up there. If you're an Android user, welcome. My name's Alicia Previn. I'll take off my glasses for a minute so I can see you. But I like to be able to read and say hi to whoever's joining me. So today we're going to talk about earthworms. I'm glad you're doing fine. Thank you. And Y Ringang, how are you? Welcome to Yellow Submarine Kids. And even if you're not a kid, we all live in a yellow submarine. Yellow submarine. You know, the funny thing about this is, hi, Yvette, thank you, that's your name? Wonderful. Dark Side, thanks for joining us. You know, the interesting thing about calling this Yellow Submarine Kids, this is a lunchbox that I use. I used it for my purse. And, you know, it's funny because I never even thought about the fact that on top of this, there's periscopes. But, you know, just sometimes things happen that are interesting. Anyway, this is my website and the book we're going to talk about. I have 3 books for children, and earthworms. Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm going to be playing violin later on today. I'm doing a Scope for Good at the hospital a little bit later on today, but this is my kids show because I write children's books. That's the other thing I do. So, oh, you have a 4-year-old. Wonderful. We'll get them up there then. Okay. So, the earthworms are extremely important, and this is the way I do earthworms. On a small scale at home, I have an earthworm box, and I just use a couple of plastic containers you can get from any hardware store. Thank you so much for the hearts, you guys. Beautiful. Yeah, always, you know, if you don't know, you tap the screen for hearts. If you like what I'm doing, if you're interested in this broadcast, it encourages me. As you can see in the background, I collect water, rainwater, from my plants. I'm kind of a gardener in this little place in here. But my worms are extremely important. Worms are the most important creature on the planet. Now, one thing I need to do here, this is the worm box, and this is just damp newspaper. But as you can see, it looks kind of depleted. So what we're going to do, thanks for joining. What we're going to do is we're going to get some new newspaper going, and we're going to feed them. Hi, Stan and Dave Show. Great to see you. We're just talking about the worms. They need some more bedding. So we're going to make some bedding today, and we're going to feed them too. But first we're going to make some more bedding because this bedding has kind of had it. After a while it just disintegrates. So we're going to make some new bedding, and this is how we're going to do it today. Thank you again. I love all the hearts. Purple and yellow hearts are so pretty together, like the Lakers, right? All you sports fans. Anyway, this is the newspaper, and then we got some food over here, and this is just a bucket of water. So what we're going to do is we're going to make some more bedding for our worms. And, probably want to see some worms too, right? Okay, well, we're going to move this bedding aside and find them. They're down here for sure. There's tons of them. Look at that. See them? You guys like worms? Write the word worm if you like worms. And if you know anything about... Oh, he's going to hide. Look, he's trying to find... Doesn't like the light. Hey, how you doing? Mr. Nickel Music, Alex, their name is, right? These are my worms, and worms are extremely important. Any of you that know me know I play violin. I'm going to be doing a Scope for Good later on this afternoon. If you're Pacific time, it's going to be 4:30 to 6 at the hospital. But I have kids' books that I write, so this is about my book, the Earthworm book. And these are my worms, and what we're going to do is we're going to make them some new bedding today. Usually I kiss a worm. You guys want to see me kiss a worm? I'm so thankful for what they do. They make dead, decaying matter into living soil that the plants can take up and helps them grow and bloom. And you can learn more about them in my book, but we're going to do something special for them today. We're going to make them more bedding. So, hey, if you're not already following me, please swipe right if you're a Apple iPhone user, or Android user, swipe up to follow. And here we go. Invite your friends too. Hello, Vatatencorum. How are you? Vatatencorum. Very nice. Thank you for joining. We're talking about worms. We're talking about the Earthworm book. My website, theearthwormbook.com. We're going to make the worms some bedding if you just joined us, and feed them. So here's how we're going to make the bedding. We're just taking ordinary newspaper, and let's see, where can I set this so that you guys can see. So what we're going to do, just going to rip up this newspaper. This is what the kids love to do. You just tear it into strips like this. Here, I'll turn it around. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to tear the newspaper into strips, and we're going to dampen it. So, here's the newspaper. Tearing it into strips, long strips like this. And then we're going to put them in the water. And any kid loves to do this, so if you give them this job, it's one of the best. So you always, one of these days I'll show you how to make a new worm box when I clean out the worms and save the wonderful worm castings of soil that they make. So, and then I kind of separate the paper out a little bit. I'm going to tear up some more because I know we need quite a lot. So the best thing is if you can find out what they call the grain of the paper, if you don't already know. If you try and rip this way, it goes all funny direction. But if you rip during the grain, it makes these perfect little long strips that you're going to make for the worms' bedding. Okay? So here we go. I'm tearing up some more paper. You can do this at home. Kids love to do this. I always get a huge crowd when I do this for kids at schools or at different venues where they have me come talk about my book. Earthworms are extremely important. This year is called the Year of Soils because not only are we killing our bees. Okay, you don't like worms? Well, a lot of people think worms are just for fishing. Worms are, every great civilization that's ever existed, you'll find worms there. Because what they do is they take all the rotting garbage like leaves and cuttings and junk that just starts to rot and die in the soil, and they eat it. And what comes out the other end, if you don't mind me saying, is like gold. They are just the most incredible creatures. Plants need to have living soil. Just like, if you know anything about nutrition, you should eat some raw food because it has a living property to it that your body really needs. You can't eat dead food all the time and be healthy. So what the earthworms do is they take the dead matter and they change it into a living condition, and the plants have to have that. They won't survive. So anywhere where you find plants living, you'll find earthworms, and they're usually just under the surface because they like it dark. Now, if you want to know more about earthworms, I wrote a book about it, and it's not just for kids. Anybody can read it. It's put in simple language for kids to understand. But there's a lot of things you can learn about worms, and I will go over the book too if I still have time after we make the worm bedding. But they are wonderful creatures. You don't have to like them. You just have to appreciate them and know what they can do. So we're going to make them some bedding. And we're going to feed them because, I save all my kitchen scraps. Okay. Stay with us, Liana. Okay. I save all my kitchen scraps, and I've got some here. Might be the bottoms of parsley or cuttings from cabbage or fruit cores or whatever you've got. The only thing they don't like is things that are really strong, like onions and garlic and citrus peels. They shy away from that. So you don't want to put that with them in a worm box. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take all this ripped up newspaper. And this is really fun too. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it in this water and just dampen it a bit. I'm going to put it over here on the side because we don't want to put it in too wet. We just want to dampen it. So if you have any followers, then swipe and invite your followers so they can learn more about worms. And maybe they have kids. And I'm going to do this show regularly, so it's a great way to use Periscope is to have your kids have something to do and learn about the earth. Too many kids don't know how the earth works. They don't understand the creatures of the earth. They don't even sometimes even put their hands in the soil. And it's important that they understand those kind of things. Before they get into too many video games and movies and TV, it's important that they understand how things work. So that's kind of what my jobs ended up being. I grew up in a situation where I was working with a farmer and a gardener since I was very young, and learned to appreciate the value of things like earthworms and bees. So I don't know, is anybody there familiar with what's going on with the bees all over the world, especially in America? Bees are dying at an alarming rate, and more this last year than ever. And there's lots of different theories of why that is. I wrote a book called Give Bees a Chance, and that's something that I'm addressing. But the bees need our help. So we'll talk about the bees on a future broadcast. But right now we're talking about worms. Wow, that sun's bright over there. So here we go. Again, my name's Alicia Previn. Thank you for staying with us. Here's the dampened newspaper. Now we don't want it to be dripping wet, so that's why I kind of put it down a little bit. But what we're going to do is we're just going to sprinkle this. Let me change the angle so that I'm facing. So we're going to sprinkle this around on top, like this. This is what I did before, but eventually the paper just gets worn down. And we make it nice and fluffy. And the worms don't like it to be dry. They like it to be damp, not wet, because they'll run away. They'll get waterlogged. Has anybody, whoops, not that big a piece. Has anyone ever seen worms crawling around on the sidewalk? Say yes, or give me a thumbs up if you've ever seen them. What usually that means is that the worms are waterlogged. Now, maybe it rained or maybe the sprinklers were on, and they can't breathe if there's too much water. So they'll come out. But the thing is, if they stay outside, then they'll get too dry and they can die that way. So if you see a worm out on the sidewalk, do put them back and cover them up with a little soil. Put them back in the grass or somewhere where there's dirt. Okay, so here's the bedding. And this will be great. This will last for a little while. Now what we're going to do is going to feed the worms. Okay, so I'm going to pull it back like this, closer to where the worms are. And what they are is they're way down underneath here. See, there they all are. See the worms? Can you see them? Tons of worms there. Hi, Manny. Hey, how you doing? Glad you could join us. You came just in time. So here's the worms, and they like it where it's dark and damp. So I have to dig down there to get them. Thank you so much. Thanks, Manny. So we're talking about worms. We're talking about my book, the Earthworm Book. It's a book for kids. Hey, Woody, Mr. Woody, how you doing? Wow, so many people joining. I can't even. Weather Bear, Pablo. Wow, very good. Thank you. We're just talking about my book, the Earthworm Book, and we're visiting my worms. This is my website, theearthwormbook.com. I have tons of articles on there. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Manny. You're awesome. This is my book, and it has a CD, so that if you have young kids, I read the story to them. I read them all about the worms. I sing a song called the Earthworm Song. These are some of the illustrations. Hey, thank you, guys. Hi. Hi, John. Hi, Music. Hi, Diamond, Sandust. Manny, you're a freak. Don't call him that. Hey, Kiss Kaisa Kazibatu. Dream of Genie. Hi. Oh, I love da 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 da. What is this? Oh, hi. Okay. This is a book that I wrote called The Earthworm Book. We're looking into earthworms Hi from Turkey. Hey, Ottoman Empire. Wonderful. Earthworms are the best. Here, I'm going to turn it around. We call it Yellow Submarine Kids. And, you know, wouldn't you know it? What does a submarine have on top? It has periscopes. Gardening, nutrition, and follow Christ. Oh, yeah, very good. Thank you, Mark. Hi from Los Angeles, Max Chat. My son's name is Max. Anyway, so let me just turn it around so you can see me. Hi. Oh, yes, please. This is for kids, and I know that maybe not that many kids are on here yet, but you got to love dirt. Dirt, this is the year of soils. And soils need our care and our concern because they're being destroyed and depleted by lots of chemicals and pesticides and fertilizers and herbicides. So nice to meet you too, Mark. So what we're doing is we just made some bedding for the worms because, and let me turn it around. Nice to see you guys. Yes, of course I touched the worms. The book is out. You can get it on my website, which is, here's my website. It's theearthwormbook.com. I don't know if you can see that. Right now, I'm just got an article in a magazine. Thank you for the hearts, guys. Hearts tell me that if you tap your screen and give me hearts, that tells me that you like what you're seeing and you appreciate this broadcast and this channel, what we're doing for kids. Right now, I have a book out called Give Bees a Chance, and they've published it in a couple of magazines. And this is a bee with pollen all over it. I wish I could read Turkish. I do have a translator, but I could look it up. You can buy it on my website, but you can also buy it on Amazon, and they can send you a physical copy of the Earthworm book. I have 2 other books that we're going to be talking about in this broadcast. But right now I'm starting with the worms. See, there's a way you can go to Amazon on my website and go directly, or you can go to Amazon and look up Alicia Previn. There's my name, Alicia Previn, and the Earthworm book, and then you'll see my other books there. But This broadcast, I'm just talking about the earthworms right now. I have a book about the desert tortoises and desert animals and what's going on in our deserts in California and solar panels and energy and stuff. Hi, Hungary. Okay, what I do with the worms afterwards. Well, here we are. What we just did is I was showing people the worms. Here they are. They're all underneath because they like to be dark and damp. So there's the worms. They're doing very well. I usually kiss worms. That's something that because I love worms so much and what worms do. Does anybody there know how important worms are? Do you understand a little bit about them? Here's a little worm. Hi, King Cripple. How you doing? So worms take old rotting garbage like your kitchen scraps, leaves, all kinds of things, as my book will tell you, and they eat it. They grind it up through their body, and what comes out the other end is living soil. Yes, so some of you already know. Kids love them. I love them. I kiss them. I show kids I kiss them. They can't believe it. The teachers think I'm crazy, but I just want them to know how much I love them. And so what we did today is the bedding here in this little worm box. See, I make a worm box out of a couple of plastic containers that I put together, one inside the other. And I drill some holes, and yes, awesome. And so I drill some holes, and then sometimes a little bit of liquid goes in the bottom. But the worms like to stay where it's dark and damp. So what we're going to do is we're going to feed them. We ripped up some newspaper before all you guys joined us. Thank you. No centipedes in here, just worms. Earthworms have no teeth. They can't hurt you. But we took some newspaper. Kids love to do this, and we ripped up the newspaper into long strips. We put it in this water, and, we just tore up some strips of paper like this, got them damp, not soaking wet, but damp, and we put it in here. Now we're going to feed them. So if you like what we're doing here, and you like this idea of showing kids how important it is to help with the soil, and bees, and what we can do to help save the bees and give them a habitat, a sanctuary where the bees can be. Nice to meet you too. Then go ahead and tap the screen for some hearts. Show me that you appreciate it. Thank you, green hearts. Thank you so much. So now what we're going to do is we're going to feed the worms because they pretty much have eaten all the worms that I gave. Oh, well, the Earthworm book is from kind of 0 to like 4th grade is the best. But I mean, anybody can make a worm box. All children should know about how to make a worm box so that you can feed your plants. I'll show you here, and this is what I do. Once the worms have done their thing, I separate the worms out and I collect the soil. And 9, 7, and 4, they would love this. And I have other books that are for a little older age group. But this is the wonderful rich soil that they make. And I put it in my plants and I dig it in and it gives them living matter. So they're all doing pretty well because of it. So here we are back with the worms. What we're going to do now is we're going to feed the worms. So I have some kitchen scraps that I made from, well, I mean, anybody can have. That's cabbage. This is some stems from parsley. I feed my dog parsley. Yes, worms make that. What happened is one of these shows will do that. Hi, B. Fraga. How are you? What we're going to do is we're feeding the worms now. We're going to put this here from this bag of stuff I've been saving. There's some cabbages, carrot, and what else? Hello. And some parsley and whatever else. I mean, there's only certain things they don't like. Oh, there's some kale there too. They don't like things that are really strong, like onions. Thank you. Please follow. Yes, follow me. If you don't, swipe right, or I think for Android users, you swipe up. Invite your friends. And if you like this broadcast, and you don't have to be a kid, but kids love worms and kids love creatures. Yes, adults do need to learn. Growing on small containers, correct. So anybody can join. Would be great. So anyway, I'm going to give some more on this side. There's some endive, a stem of endive. That's kind of big, but eventually they'll get a lot of it eaten up. The only thing worms don't like is they shy away from strong things like onions, garlic, and citrus. You don't want to put orange peels, lemon peels, because they use that for cleaning. That stuff's strong and they don't really like it. So I'm going to cover them all up with this new bedding we made from just dampened newspaper in the water. Just get the newspaper, squeeze it out a little bit because they like it to be damp but not wet. And then give them some more bedding and they're happy. All right, hi little wrap lady. So we've got them all set and we're going to put them to bed. Sorry if you just joined. Danny Boy Man, glad you joined. So what we were doing was looking at the worms. If you've just joined, we have a worm box here with a lot of happy, healthy worms. They're all running away. I'll go on this side where they don't expect me. So yeah, we have a ton of worms in here. They're eating. The other thing they like is coffee grounds. So, hi Pepper, how are you? Glad you could come. So they like coffee grounds too. So we've got the bedding. We fed them some vegetable scraps. We're going to put them to bed. And this is all about this book I've written called The Earthworm Book. And my website, you can find it. Right now on my website, I'm talking about bees because our bees are dying. And this is my website. My name's Alicia Previn. And here I am. Sorry if it'll go around. Come on. There we go. So, how are you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate all of you that have joined the broadcast. That's fantastic. And I'm going to be doing this probably every day. So there'll be a good time. Let me know if you have a special time that would be ideal for your kids to join. Or you can just learn about the worms and the desert and what's going on. I have 3 books that I've drawn and written for kids and people of any age. That right now, the bee book has just gotten a review in a magazine. I'll just show you. And the magazine's called East County Magazine, so they have some pictures from my book about bees and talking about how that it's written for children, but it's a message for all of us. So you can go on Amazon and get my books. See, there's a button on my website, or you can go directly there to find my books. But we're going to be talking about these things and right here on the... So, everybody ready to sing it? We all live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine. Hi, the demanding. We're just about to end the broadcast. I'm glad you could join us. Join us next time for some more Yellow Submarine Kids. We all live in a yellow submarine. All our friends are aboard, and we're going to continue to talk about earthworms and other things next time. We'll look into the book a little bit, so get your kids. What's that? Oh, no. What's that? Next time, come join us. Thank you if there's any Android viewers, but stay tuned for the next Yellow Submarine Kids. Be back with you soon. And stay tuned also this afternoon. I'll be doing a Scope for Good at the hospital with my violin and my trio, cello, piano, and violin, where we play songs from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. It's a lot of fun. So stay tuned for the Rose 3 at Scripps Hospital at about 4:30 Pacific time today till 6. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.